My favorite feature of Fleetyr is probably.
Hey guys, this video is sponsored by Fleetyr. They wanted me to talk about their product and where it fits in a telematics ecosystem, and they've pretty much given me free rein to say whatever I'd like about it, so I'm hoping this overview will give you a good idea of whether or not their solution is a good fit for your fleet. So first of all, what is Fleetyr? The high-level version of this is that Fleetyr is a service that takes data from various software systems. For example, if you have telematics and a maintenance management solution, and puts it together in one place so companies can quickly gain insights about data from different sources. This is currently done mostly in Power BI and Tableau environments, and we'll log into a Power BI setup to show you exactly how it works. Here, I'm inputting the information needed for the demo data I have available to me, and setting it up to load. While we're waiting, it's worth mentioning I spoke with a number of Fleetyr customers to get a better picture of what it's like for them to use the software, and although their take on it was positive on the whole, one of the points that someone made is that loading times for obtaining all this data can sometimes be quite lengthy. Now, I have been told that this is a limitation of Power BI, and a number of customers avoid this issue by embedding Power BI into their SharePoint environment, and setting up a data auto-load so that it can be imported overnight to be ready for analysis in the morning. Now, I don't have SharePoint here, and we just have a lot of data coming in, so I'll speed this up a bit for the sake of the demo. And here we can see some of the examples of the actual Fleetyr dashboards that are available to their customers. I'm going to walk you through a few simple ones of these so you can get an idea of how Fleetyr can take your existing data, even if you only have a telematics system, and help you spot anomalies that could result in some big cost savings. First, let's take a look at the Asset Maintenance tab here. Instantly, we can see from this graph that we have a couple of anomalies. On the one end, we have this dot we can click on to see that this vehicle has no costs associated with it in the nearly 500,000 miles it's been driven. This might indicate that the back-end office isn't entering the data required to track expenses properly for the vehicle, and needs to file repair work into your maintenance management software. Then we have a much more interesting example here on the other end of the graph, where this vehicle has driven almost no miles and has racked up over $150,000 of expenses. This gets even fishier if we actually look at the cost breakdown, because there are two identical charges to replace an undercarriage on the same vehicle that ought to be almost brand new based on its odometer readings. This could be a simple matter of user error, where a mechanic or maintenance guy entered the data twice on the wrong vehicle, in which case some additional user training might be appropriate, or it could actually be a case of expense fraud that would have otherwise cost this company tens of thousands of dollars or more. Another dashboard that I think is kind of neat because of how simply it may help to turn up issues is this inspections one. The fault cloud here takes the most common inspection issues and makes the words that show up most frequently larger. So in this case, we can see that the right side of our vehicles is one of the items that has the most defects reported. This could potentially lead you to realize that your drivers need additional training in maneuvering their vehicles so the right sides aren't being damaged so much. And knowing it's the right side may give you hints as to what kind of training is required. So there are a whole bunch of these dashboards, and each of them can be quite useful. I really like the visualizations in some of these too, like the Telematics Events tab, where we can see on a map where certain types of events occurred. Like here we can drill down on a metric such as idling, and see we have a ton of events along this particular road running across Texas, and we can then assess if it's worth routing vehicles around it to cut back on idling, or maybe even schedule them to run at different times of the day when the road is less busy. So if any of this has piqued your interest in checking Fleetyr out further, I've provided links below to their main website and contact page. They've agreed to provide 50% off the first 6 months of service to anyone who reaches out and mentions Telematics 411 so that they know you found them through this video. Below you'll also find a link to their fleet savings calculator, where you can get an estimate of what their solution may be able to save you in a year based on your fleet size, industry, and the data sources you'd have them ingest. A couple other quick things worth mentioning are that Fleetyr typically costs between $2 and $3 monthly per asset, and they have integrations with over 100 different software platforms, so if you have integration work you require, regardless of whether or not you'd like the analytics piece, it may be worth reaching out to them to see if they can do this for you too. And the last thing I'll leave you with is this. Don't take my word for it that Fleetyr seems to be a pretty good company. Here are some of the things their customers had to say, in their own words, when I asked them what their favorite part of using the Fleetyr system was.
My favorite feature of Fleetyr is probably the people. I know that sounds so cliche, but the people are awesome. I have something I need. I reach out to them. I pitch them my idea, and they're like, hey, we don't have that yet, but let's make it happen. And we're on calls and meetings, and by golly, they're making it happen. So the people are awesome. They're honestly the reason that Fleetyr has probably been as successful as it has.
My experience from a service point of view with Fleetyr has been brilliant. The guys are very, very responsive. There is nothing that they won't have a crack at and try and solve, and do so very, very quickly. I know if I drop them a note with a couple of screenshots, they'll be onto it. And no, I just couldn't ask for more in terms of the responsiveness of the team, in terms of trying to get to the bottom of issues that have been raised, or things that we're seeing that don't make sense. It's been brilliant from that point of view.
They're probably the best benefit that it provides us at this stage as well. It's like it's got that overview, so if on a daily basis, whenever we need to go in there, we can have a quick look, but also when we need the data, you can drill right down and it's all there. So it's quite a quite a user-friendly system in that sense.
It's a great little system. One of the best things about that Fleetyr though is the team. The team are amazing to deal with. Tim, Brody, Adam, they're all there for us if we need them, and they're there immediately if we need help.
Favorite feature of Fleetyr? That's a mouthful, isn't it? Do I have a favorite feature of Fleetyr? Yeah, I suppose the area which I found quite interesting is being able to see what time of day and what days of week different vehicles were being used. So it's giving me some really interesting insights into the behaviours of our workforce, and understanding and actually visually being able to see vehicles that are on the road at very strange times of day or night, or days of week. And being able to see that visually is really, really cool.
Really good product, great service. It's a great extra for us to have our fingers on.
Well, they're awesome. And it's customizable. Fleetyr's so customizable. That's a huge benefit. It's probably my favorite feature. You work with them, they get the data there, and then you build whatever you want. Like whatever's in your head, you can put in a dashboard.